All right, everyone. We are so excited for tonight's Women's Wellness Circle Zoom. I'm so excited for our guest speaker to join us tonight. And little backstory for those that I haven't got the pleasure to meet, my name is Tracy Baum. I have been with Nu Skin now for 7 years. Did not expect this journey to happen. I fell in love with the products and then fell in love with the business. And this has provided such a huge opportunity for me and my family. And our guest speaker tonight, I knew of him, but we really became friends in, I think was it 2021? I'm going to put you on pin with me. Um, and we were at a success trip. So there is a mixture of distributors on here, just so you know, Dr. Steve. It's also customers. And we have some people on here. I see my son's teacher, my Noble's teacher, special needs teacher. She's on tonight. So you guys say hello. But we met, well, we kind of it was at Escaret in
It
20.
was. It was in Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of our favorite trips. And we just connected and we became friends, and I just really value our friendship. And so I'm going to bring you on. I'd love for you to tell your story. I know some of our distributors have got to hear the deeper story, but if you don't mind just kind of letting people know how you got involved with Nu Skin and why you're here, and then we'll get started talking about one of my favorite products.
Yeah, happy to. Thanks for having me, Tracy. Hello, everybody. I live down here in Jupiter, Florida, and it was about 22 years ago. See, I was actually studying to be an orthopedic surgeon. I was studying pre-med, and I got a little fed up with medicine. I wanted to do more to get to the root cause of why people were having health issues. And I ended up going to chiropractic college out in California instead of pursuing a medical degree. And as I was going through school, we learned a lot about nutritional supplements, about diet, about lifestyle. And my scientific mind always was asking, how do you really know what brand to pick? How do you compare the different supplement brands? And as I kind of talked to people I knew, I found that a lot of people were confused on what supplements to pick or what brand to go with. And so I thought that I could help people make that decision. I started researching a lot of different supplement brands. A lot of them were only available to doctors. And as I'm trying to compare all these catalogs, it really seemed like the more I was trying to learn about supplements, the more I was trying to help people, the more confused I became because every company was telling me they were the best and there was no real way to compare things, no real objective way to compare things. It was a lot of stories, a lot of testimonials, but not really objective science. And so, out of frustration, I wasn't ready to move that business forward until someone had introduced me to a device called the Biophotonic Scanner, which actually I've got one right next to me here. And they had invited me when I was living in the Silicon Valley to a launch meeting that they were doing to take a look at this new healthcare technology. And I went to go see the device. I got tested. I didn't do as well as I thought I was going to, and it really made me start to think a little bit more about the supplements I was taking, how I was eating. And then they had told me that they had supplements that were actually clinically proven, and they had studies behind them that they could actually get measurable results. And if we look at science, we need to measure things. We measure blood pressure, we measure cholesterol, we measure hormones, we measure things. That's how we know if things are working. And with supplements, we've always just said, take it, cross your fingers. I hope it works. And so this was really the first company that said, we have products that actually we've been able to measure results. And so that got me interested in Pharmanex. I tried their products. I got measurable results in my body. I felt better as well. And then I started to look at their product line and really started to dive into the science and the research engine behind the company. And I was really impressed. Like they had 70 full-time scientists, and I wasn't sure if that was good or bad. So I started asking the other brands that I was looking at that were really popular in the doctor community, and I said, "How many scientists do you have?" And it was one or three, or we hire people to do studies part time or occasionally. Nobody had this type of investment in research and development, and I really knew that Pharmanex was something really special. And now it's been 20, almost 22 years working with the products, working with healthcare professionals, working with people in my community to really help people prioritize their health and give them better guidance that the money that they want to invest in their health is actually going to do something.
I love it. And it has enabled you to be with your family because you have a beautiful wife, two kids, and I've heard your story of, being able to travel and spend time with them. And I mean, there's nothing that, you know, measure that, right? It's like there's nothing that beats that. So we talked earlier today about one of my favorite products that I started taking right as perimenopause started happening. We've also talked about Astera. I had a great video that you did of the Astera product. But one of the things that you also found was that it helped you with your sleep because I did not notice that it was helping me with my sleep until I didn't have it. And because I was taking it for about 3 months when it first launched in another country. We didn't even have it here yet, but I wanted to get my hands on it, and I didn't have it for another 3 months, and I was like, man, I'm just not sleeping as well, and I was not snoring. My Patrick, my husband, was like, you don't snore when you take that. And so, did you have the same experience as well with your sleep?
I they had actually given me some product to try out, and I think they gave me a month, 6 weeks. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but it wasn't available yet on the market. And
Mhm.
so I tried it for a little bit. It was marketed as a gut health product. I'm like, all right, well, we can always, benefit from better gut health. And if this is something that's going to improve my microbiome or my gut, I'm all for that. I think that's really a lot of diseases, a lot of health issues are related to gut issues. And so I tried the product. I didn't have a gut issue, but I just figured, okay, I'll just work on optimizing things. I'll be proactive here. And then I started noticing, and I didn't notice it right away because I wasn't making the connection to the product, but I was having issues sleeping well. I had issues like I was having a lot of congestion in my sinuses and my nasal area, and I noticed that it was like interfering with my sleep, and so I was getting those breathe right
Yeah,
strips. So
yeah.
my wife got me those, and I'm sleeping with those, and those were kind of a pain, and I said maybe there's something I can do. And so I had allergy testing done, and it wasn't allergies. I had talked to another ENT doctor, and he's like, "Oh, there's some surgical thing where we can go up there and like cauterize the inside of your." I'm like, "I'm not doing that."
Same thing.
And and then and then I was thinking like, wow, like I'm breathing and I'm taking these deep breaths through my nose and I'm noticing I'm sleeping better. And then I ran out of that product and then all those issues started to come back. And then I went on the product and it went away. And it's actually helped with my migraines a lot. Actually, I had a migraine yesterday because I ran out of Meta on our vacation. And it's really helped with migraines. And I'm thinking about it because I wasn't really making the connection initially to okay, I'm taking a gut product, like I'm breathing better at night until I started to, think about my training and the science. And if you think about what Meta does, it's not just really a gut health product, it actually helps with low grade systemic inflammation in the body. And so when your gut's inflamed, your respiratory tract is probably inflamed as well because it's all connected.
Hmm.
And so what Meta does is not just improve the microbiome or the healthy bacteria in your gut, but by doing that, it actually those bacteria produce something called short chain fatty acids, and those are the fuel source to the cells in your intestinal lining. And so when those cells are healthier, think of it, you have all these cells, right? And they've got to butt up against each other. Because you want those cells to be really tight in your gut. Otherwise, things start to leak through, and that's what's called leaky gut syndrome. It's when those junctions aren't held tight. And if those cells don't have a lot of energy, if they're not getting those short chain fatty acids, those junctions in between the cells gets leaky. And that when it leaks, you're now getting stuff that's not supposed to be in your bloodstream is starting to get and leak through those cells. And what happens now is your body now forms an inflammatory response to it, and your immune system has to kick in, and that causes inflammation of your gut, and that causes inflammation in your respiratory tract. And so, looking at them like, oh, this all like as I was reading the science of the products and the studies, like, okay, this all makes sense because it's all connected.
Wow, I'm like sitting here trying to take notes because I'm gonna have to go back and watch this. Um, so what about how our metabolism is related to fat loss, blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, heart disease, all of that? Can you walk
Yeah.
me through that?
Well, this was actually I was because I was talking to the scientists about this product, trying to like I always kind of corner them or call them and say, "Hey, what's going on here? Tell me like the backstory. How did you get this product developed?" And so they were starting to put up slides and do studies that this product that was designed for gut health was starting to produce metabolic health. And so they were showing that they said it's actually improving our metabolic chemistry in our body. And I said, what do you mean by that? And they said, well, and how did you discover that? And they said, well, we do safety studies, we do blood panels, liver studies, all kinds of studies on the products to make sure that not only are we getting the benefits that we're looking for, but we're also not causing other issues in the body. And when the scientists were looking at the clinical studies, they said, well, it looks like this group was exercising. Did you guys control? In other words, did you guys track if they were exercising? I'm like, yeah, we tracked all of that. And what they found was that the metabolic chemistry of people that were taking Meta, it actually looked like they were exercising. So now we're not saying that this is where it's confusing. We're not saying that this is replacing exercise, but what it's doing is it's giving you some of the metabolic benefits of what exercise does. And we're saying still exercise, but if you look at the way that we live in our modern lifestyle, we just don't move as much as we should be. Like, I mean, I've been sitting at my desk most of the day. We're not I mean, we don't even have to go to the grocery store anymore or go to the
Right.
mall or do any like everything comes to us. So we just don't really move. We don't hunt. We even if we work out, what is it for an hour a day? What are we doing
Right.
the rest of the day? We're pretty,
Fitting.
we're pretty not moving. We're not moving around very much.
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't even have to get in the car to have this meeting, right? We can just
Right.
sit at my desk and we can talk to everybody.
True.
So there's a need for us to be able to, we're losing a lot of the benefits because we just don't move enough. So we need a little bit of help here. Yes, we want to move more, but having this meta product that also is helping enhance some of the benefits that you also get from exercise.
And so we know only 1 in 8 people are metabolically healthy, right? And what about so fatty liver? You kind of touched a little bit on the liver. What else can you tell us about the fatty liver in
You know,
this?
I'm not an expert on that, but it is a very hot topic in healthcare right now. A lot of people have issues with fatty liver. And so, um, I've got to look at some of the studies in Meta, but it would make sense that it would impact that. I'm not quite sure because I haven't looked at those studies in quite some time. But anything you can do to improve your metabolism is going to help with that.
Yeah. And I had because I posted that we were going to have this Zoom, and I had a lady say, "Well, it doesn't youth do all this because she's taking youth." And I said, "Youth and meta are two totally different things. Can you expand a little bit? Like, I'd like to hear what you would say because you have definitely a better background than I do."
Yeah, I don't want to over. Oh, did I just lose everybody?
No, we're here.
Okay. I hit something on my mouse. So I don't want to confuse people, but I take both. So I take several products. We could talk about that later if you guys want. But
Yes.
AgeLock Youth is designed as a way to address the genetic or epigenetic sources of aging. And so as we get older, um, our genes don't function as well. I like to think of it as we get older, our genes get out of tune, like an instrument getting out of tune. It could be the best instrument, the best player, but if it's out of tune, it's not going to sound very well. And essentially, as we get older, some genes upregulate and some genes downregulate, and those produce proteins out of balance, and that's what causes aging. That's why we don't heal as well. It affects metabolism, it affects our skin, it affects energy, it affects brain function. It really affects everything. And there's it's just part of the process as human beings and as just living species. Like our genes just wear out essentially over time. And so this study of genetic function is what's called epigenetics. It's the switches that are upregulating or controlling the genes. And so though your genes can be influenced, their function can be influenced by exercise, it can be influenced by diet, it can be influenced by things that you eat. And so if you look at, there's certain areas around the world where people live really long, healthy lives, right? Okinawa, Japan, parts of Hawaii. And if you think about it, why do those people live long? Well, part of it is they're influencing their genes to stay younger. And so one of the things that Pharmanex did is they acquired a company called LifeGen that actually mapped out all of the genes. And they actually have this database of what your genes look like when you're young and healthy and what they look like when you get older. And the idea was is can we screen for ingredients, natural things, and can we possibly find things that can influence these genes and restore them or reset them to a more youthful expression? And so they started looking at different areas around the world where people live longer. What are they eating in Okinawa, Japan that's unique there? And they start talking to the people and start looking at studies and they start to find these ingredients and they start then to test them to see if they're actually influenced in the genes. And what they found is they were able to prioritize or and look at what are the most impactful natural ingredients that can keep our genes healthy. And then they were able to put together a formula that can affect and tune up basically your genes. And so age lock is the ability to identify the genes that are related to aging and measure those genes and then develop natural products that can reset or restore the function of those genes to how it was when you were younger and healthier. And so it started with age lock R squared day and then R squared night, and then it was age lock youth, which does it for the entire body. And so this is a way to target the genetic sources of aging. Um, AgeLock Meta, which um, is it's it doesn't quite fit the definition of what AgeLock was originally defined as from a marketing standpoint. But what it does is it actually is an anthocyanin product. So these are extracts from like berries and black rice and so forth that have been shown to help essentially think of it as like healthy fertilizer for your microbiome. And so even though it's not working from a genetic standpoint, what it's doing is it's actually resetting metabolic chemistry. So age lock youth, you can think of this is a way of mimicking the benefits of long-term fasting from a longevity standpoint and without having to do the fasting.
Mm.
And then age lock meta, think of this as an exercise mimetic. So it helps enhance some of the benefits you would get from exercise from a metabolic standpoint, where age lock youth is working more on an epigenetic pathway.
Awesome.
So I
Way
don't know if that was too geeky and too
No,
science,
it was
but
awesome. I hope you are taking notes because these are the kind of things that we can say. So as we are getting ready to wrap this up, what are the products that you and your family are taking? Because I know, Patrick and I, we take pretty much everything that comes out. But tell us what you're taking. And then I'd love to know what your favorite product is. I mean, it's probably hard to choose one or two, but what is your like, go to that's like, I have to have this.
so I take Life Pack or Life Pack Nano.
Mhm.
That's my foundation, right? If you want, you've got to get your foundational biochemistry functioning optimally. No matter how good you eat, it's just really hard to get everything you need at optimal levels every day. Plus, the quality of our food is not good. And when you are looking at any targeted treatments, when you have a strong foundation to keep all, you have all those nutrients that the cells need to function. Well, when you're doing a targeted treatment, it's going to work better when you have a stronger foundation. So, always good to have the strong foundation, Life Pack or Life Pack Nano. My wife takes Life Pack Nano. I kind of go back and forth. Age Lock Youth, we both take. Now she takes Life Pack Nano and Age Lock Youth all the time because that gives her 8 grams of fish oil,
Mhm.
and that's significantly reduced her allergies. Like they're almost completely gone. If she takes 4 grams of fish oil, her allergies come back a little bit. So
Huh.
taking she by having more fish oils, that helps control the inflammatory balance in the body. So that's done wonders with her allergies. So we both take LifePak and or LifePak Nano and ageLOC Youth. I take Meta. I definitely notice a difference that I'm not breathing well at night when I don't take Meta.
Yes.
So my wife was just telling me, she's like, "Did you take your Meta today?" Because I didn't have it on vacation. Um,
Or you're
I
sleeping
take
on the couch.
uh, R squared day, ageLOC R squared day, because we lose mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are the powerhouses of every cell in the body. You want to make sure your cells are getting lots of energy. That is great, so you don't get tired during the day. I mean, my children never get tired because their mitochondria are young. You get older, it's more difficult, and that has a lot of longevity benefits, libido benefits, brain health. I don't know about you, but I noticed my reflexes are like Spider-Man
Yes, is that
reflexes.
what
Like,
that's
yeah,
from?
it's from the ageLOC R
I
squared day.
I
Yeah,
hope Patrick's watching because I
yeah,
literally it happens to me a lot. I'm in the car and I'm like, whack. I'm like,
yeah.
you see
That's
that?
that's R squared day. Yeah, yeah, it does
What?
that.
Okay.
Totally, yeah. So, and then we take ProBio sometimes. I take the Mind 360 nighttime is excellent. Get such better quality sleep when I take that
Yeah.
because, being an entrepreneur, having kids, doing all these things and responsibilities, like my mind is just always racing. I kind of, it's kind of like the challenge, like when you go to school and and it's really demanding to be a doctor, like your brain just gets wired to just like you're just
Oh,
it's always going. And so like we just got back from vacation and I know it takes me like 3 days just to kind of calm my brain so I'm not
yeah.
thinking of 100 things at once. So the nighttime formula really really helps with sleep. I think it tastes great as well, and I get not only like sleep better, but I feel more rested and I wake up more refreshed. Um, I take the calm sometimes. So if I feel like overwhelmed during the day and I'm having a hard time focusing, I take that and that kind of helps me out. We drink G3. We actually, one of the tricks we do is we take the G3 and we take the pouches and we throw them in the freezer, and they're like the best popsicles you'll ever have. And the kids love them. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do that. That sounds so yummy.
They're super good. And they have like a really great texture when you take
Like
them out.
crunchy? Is it like crunchy,
Well,
crunchy?
well, what we do is we freeze them, and then I take like I just kind of like put pressure on them to kind of break them up before I open it, so it turns into like a slushy. They're really good.
Ah, sounds delicious.
Um,
You have to try that.
my wife takes the Astera One line.
Mhm.
Um, so what Astera One does is not only does it help with PMS, but it also helps your body metabolize estrogen. So there's two forms of estrogen, estriol and estradiol. One's like considered the healthy protective form of estrogen, and one contributes to some of the estrogen related cancers. And so the ingredients in Astera have been shown to shift your body's ability to metabolize estrogen to the healthier form.
Wow. See, I
So
didn't even know that. I was because I've been so focused on two, which for perimenopause, and
yeah,
then of course three is for the menopause. But I did not even know that about ones. That's really good information, especially
yeah.
for our call tonight. Um,
Yeah, that's a great product. My wife has taken that every day since that product came out. I actually had a chance to spend some time with the scientist. She came and spoke at a conference in California when I used to live out there, and I spent some time with the scientist that developed it. And yeah, she's an expert on that, so it was really great
I
to meet
hope
her.
they never. I would. So we have been really focused on Astera too, and we were
Mm.
out. We outsold them 3 months in a row, and we were out for about almost 3 or 4 weeks. And I was like, I can't not have this. Like I have to have my Astera too. So, okay. So is that everything that y'all take?
Oh, you know what? I've got to go into I know I'm probably forgetting something,
Forgetting a
but
few things.
but
Yeah,
those
the
are
base.
my staples. We take tea green sometimes as well. I
Mhm.
mean, green tea extracts are actually really healthy. They're great for your skin. They're great for collagen. Um, Green tea, I can't make a product claim, but green tea has been shown to help reduce risk of cancers. Actually, a lot of oncologists use it with their cancer treatments because green tea Again, I'm not making a product claim, but green tea extracts have been shown to prevent cancer cells from basically attaching to each other and binding and communicating and so forth. Um, it also, there's actually a study I read out of Japan that correlated the number of cups of green tea that you drink is actually directly correlated to lifespan.
Really?
So ideally, you want to have 7 to 9 cups of green tea a day, which I mean, many Americans don't do, right? In Japan, they do, right? They're kind of drinking it all day. China, they're drinking it
Right.
all day. So every capsule of the Tea Green 97 actually has the equivalent of of 7 cups of high quality green tea, and
Wow.
it's standardized and it has no caffeine.
Yeah.
So that actually how they actually grow it and pick it is actually like most green tea products on the market are garbage. Um, they're not very good. Also, just a side note, tea has one of the highest pesticides of any crop grown.
Really?
Yeah. So, um, if you're probably taking some tea, uh, you're likely getting a lot of pesticides with it. So the nice thing about the tea green is, they control for all of that. There's no pesticides in it. They test for all of it as well, and so you're getting something that's clean.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, there's like all these comments coming in, but we are at the top of the hour, which means it's close to 9 o'clock in Florida. So you guys I mean, this was so helpful. I know I have notes. I'm so excited. Learned a lot, and I could talk to you all day. Like I know you get bombarded by all of us, especially when you come to New Skin because you just have, you bring so much value, and I love hearing from you. And I'm so thankful for our friendship and thankful for you to be on the call tonight. So, you guys, we'll see you guys on the next call. We'll get the recording out, and we'll see you guys on the best beaches in the world. Thank you so much, Steve, for being willing to be on our call tonight.
Thank you, Tracy. It's been great working with you. I'm so glad we bumped into each other at that random restaurant in
Yeah,
the corner of the resort there. And
so
it's been
good.
really been great getting to know you and Patrick well and working with you guys. You guys do such a great job and are really supporting so many great people.
Thank you so much. I agree. It's been such a great friendship, and I can't wait for more trips around the world. All right, you guys. We'll see y'all later. Thanks for being on tonight. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.